it decides to move forward, but yet would keep and hold back a particular gender or a section of that society. How will that society ever move forward? Then the others will say, judge a society by how it treats its most vulnerable, the children and the women, right? What about also paying attention to issues such as, well, the hand that rocks the cradle is the one that rules the nation? You might have to think about that when you begin to see how a society treats its women. But that's it. Let's get into what today's conversation is about. It's strictly today is set aside as the International Day of the Girl Child with the theme Invest in Girls' Rights. That's what it's about. And our leadership, our well-being. So you see where the convergence is all coming from the intro now. Now moving on. According to the United Nations, it has been observed since 2012 to mark every October 11, the day for girls, seek to increase awareness of gender inequality faced by girls worldwide, including access to education, speaking of issues of nutrition, legal rights, medical care, protection, and many violence and forced marriages. Bring it back home. It is said, according to the figures coming out, that about 60% girls account for 60% of Nigeria's 10 million out of school children facing barriers such as child marriage, poverty, discriminatory social norms. In Nigeria, 30% of girls aged 9 to 12 have never seen the four walls of a school. You see, this conversation must be had this morning. And so help me make welcome my guest as she joins me for this very all interesting conversation. She's a legal practitioner, an active experience in criminal and civil litigation. She's the founder and executive director of the Headfort Foundation, a non-profit organization bridging the justice gap in Nigeria through legal aid, advocacy, and innovative technology solutions. I mean, welcome Oluyemi Orija.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here and happy International Day of the Girl Child.
All right, that said, let's get this conversation started with this issue first. This day set aside, and from what I see in the intro, it's about 12, it's been since 2012 now till
Yeah.
date. This is the 11th edition. And one is forced to ask, what has been the significance of this day? I'd like you to speak to us about the significance of this day.
Yeah, it's important for us to, set aside this day and acknowledge, it's like a day that we have to remind ourselves all over again that our children, our girls especially, should not be neglected. And it's important for us to tell ourselves and remind ourselves of our roles in ensuring that we empower our girls and the importance of empowering them, investing in their rights, so that at the end of the day, because I always say the way, whatever investment we make now is the future that we are going to get in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years. So we will not be complaining in the next 20 or 30 years if we are not investing now. This is the time that we have to invest. So this day is a very important one. First of all, we have to celebrate them, celebrate that they are alive, they are part of the society. Acknowledge that the society isn't complete without them, and importantly, telling them that they have the world to, like the world is their stage. They have the world to, they can do whatever it is they want to do. They can achieve whatever dreams they have. And of course, we as adults, we as stakeholders in the society, the government, the NGOs, the civil society, private organization, telling ourselves what is the role that we need to play in ensuring that our girls' future are quite secure.
Now, if I build on what you've just mentioned, it tells me there are challenges, hurdles, on the way of the girl child to achieve full potential. And so
Absolutely.
that will be the next port of call. I would like you to speak to those challenges that first not peculiar to Nigeria now, that's globally now, then gradually we'll bring it back home.
I mean, the one that there are a lot of them, but the one that still amazes me is the fact that some couple actually abort girls, because they don't want the child. So you now see fetal abortion because a girl is presumed as not necessary, or like a liability. The way, I mean, different cultures, different society, the way they perceive women and girl child. So that's one. Another one is, in some community we are looking at forced marriage. We are looking at early marriage. Some children are married off as early as 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. Another one is education. A lot of them are out of school, just like your intro had, giving us the statistics in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria, the number of girls who are natural, who are like out of school. Because I mean, I had an experience where a girl of about 17, 18 was doing like an house up here in Lagos. And when I questioned, why are you doing this and what do you do with the money that you earn, and she said she gives the money to the parent to send the brothers to school. That tells you the level of decadence that we have in this sector, and how important it is for us to be having this conversation and also taking step in ensuring that our girls are quite educated. So yeah, there are a lot of challenges. A few of them is forced marriage. I mean, FGM is there. Female genital mutilation is another one. We are talking about a whole couple of challenges that our girls are facing, and it's important for us to really be having this conversation.
Okay, this would also lead us to, if it's been 11 years since we've been on this advocacy internationally, have we seen some light in the tunnel in terms of response by society across the world to wanting to turn the plight of the girl child around?
Absolutely. I would say we are not where we used to be. We are not where we were 10 years ago. So progress is being made, but of course we have a lot ahead of us I mean, because major barrier is cultural, and custom. So you see, it's not, when you're changing people's perception of a particular situation, it's kind of hard, and we have to that's where consistency comes in. We can't stop. This is not even the right time to stop. So yes, we have made progress, but of course we have a lot to do. Now, why do I say we've made progress? In the past, you see that, you know the level of awareness is even low. But now we are talking on a daily basis. If you use internet, you see that everywhere we're seeing International Day of the Girl Child. So some people are even aware that we have a day set aside for this conversation. So you know, I would say we are not where we used to be, but a whole lot ahead that we can still do.
Now, issues are sticking out of what you just mentioned now, but I just would like you to, this is just as an aside, where in a society or in a world where we see, for example, a registration of a company, you see, then you see and sons, and then we've never seen and daughters.
Mhm.
I'm just going to link that up, but then to take us into some of the cultural and social issues that keeps the girl child. I'd like you to speak to that and help us see some of these things, and we always would see as culture but or tradition that has never really helped the girl child to progress beyond where she should be.
Yeah, we cannot be ignorant of the fact, or we are not oblivious of the fact that in some community it is still believed that the women should not be seen. In even in Nigeria, especially in the northern part, there are some community who sees women that they should be in the kitchen, and they should only be a pleasure to the men and taking care of the kids. So you would never see and sons, or and daughters rather, because you're not expected to be doing business. You're not expected to even know that there's something called business. All you know, or all that you should know, is that you should take care of the home front, and support the family, and of course be a pleasure to the male folks. But not just that. Another thing is, women are perceived as weaker vessel. Some people will back it up with biblical reference and say they are not, they can't do this. Even if I mean, give us the room to express. Give these children the room to say, okay, I can't do it. If you are limiting yourself, that becomes a personal issue and not a gender issue. But girls are not on the tables where girls' issues are discussed. In some community, men are the ones sitting down and talking about what the rights of girls are. How can you know when a woman is not even there to talk about it? So I believe that we would do a lot better by including women in decision making, especially when it has to do with our girls. And again, I'll say that we cannot in some community, the way they perceive women is you're not you're not up to it, you're not up to the task. Like, you don't. In fact, I was speaking with a woman yesterday, and she's about leaving her marriage and all of that, and she said to me that her husband does not even see her, like like you don't have anything to do bring to the table, like there's nothing in your head, you get what I mean. So these are the perception or the kind of things that the mindset that needs some level of shifting, and that's why we have to consistently have conversation. And I also say women who are at the forefront of organizations, or who are empowered, who have education, who have excelled, should take all this role and begin to mentor our girls, let them know the kind of opportunities they have ahead of them. It is important for them to know that they are more than what the society say they are. And, when we begin to mentor them, I believe that we'll get somewhere.
Quite a, I mean, it's awesome. I know there's more still coming from where all of this is coming from, but I need to establish this quickly to let the listener know they can be part of this conversation. If they give us a call on 01-448-9981. Once again, the number for calls will be on 01-448-9981. But then we'll let you know the prompt way you can call in, but we're still trying to set the foundation for all this conversation to proceed. We'd also look forward to reading WhatsApp messages on 0809-444-0981. So I take up from this premise once again. Again, it's, but sure, we can have this conversation knowing that you are the female gender, and then it's safe to, I mean, I can also be at that table too, where a man can be present to have this conversation, but as well,
Absolutely.
so that's safe to say now.
Yeah.
So let's proceed to education. How do you feel, or what makes it, you know, society would think about the kind of education they feel a girl child should have? So by saying, STEM, that's science, tech, not for girls. So home economics, other issues, childbearing. Yes, this is the kind of education she should have, and that's what she would need. So I'd like you to speak to that and help us disabuse this as part of what we are looking at, celebrating the girl child today.
I mean, this goes back to decision making. How do you make decision for me? Why am I not supposed to be a part of that
Okay,
decision?
just before you break that, just do that. I see the green light. We need to go for this traffic to just go by. But when we come back, you speak on that once again.
That's fine.
It is still Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1 FM. Stay tuned.
What does future forward banking mean to you? Speed, innovation,
So we're back in
convenience,
less than
lifestyle,
minutes.
or
Okay.
just simply
Then,
getting service that is designed just for you? Yeah, we thought you might like all of that and more. That is why we specially created Providus Bank for you to take care of your daily experiences. At Providus Bank, we believe that banking should be all about you and your business and how to get you to the next level. If you do not already have a Providus Bank account, please speak with our business concierge on 0700 77 684 387 or email businessconcierge at providusbank.com to switch to a future forward banking experience. Providus Bank. Future forward banking.
Let's take a critical look at your lifestyle and the state of your health. With life in a city that hardly speaks, so many people working hard, and many more on the edge, one thing is likely to happen. System shut down. Helping you discover facts about your health and expanding your access to well-being through relevant information. Tune in to Smooth Health on the Drive and make that connection with your body.
Some very interesting information I came across that I thought I should
The
share.
Smooth Health, every Thursday at 5:15 p.m.
Providus Bank.
we're back.
Future forward banking.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM. 17 minutes already past the hour of 9 o'clock. It's Lagos Talks 981 on Smooth 98.1 FM. My guest is still here, Oluyemi Orija, still speaking on the International Girl Child Day and still looking at several issues, because we know the theme of this year is the girl child. They invest in girls' rights, leadership, our well-being. Before we went for that quick green light to allow traffic flow, you were going to expatiate on this certain discrimination on the kind of education society feels a girl should have and what a boy should have based on their needs and role later on in life.
You know, I was saying that it's important for don't make decision for the girls. Like one of the rights is right of expression. Let them express themselves. Let them explore. You know, so it is not in anybody's place. If you wouldn't choose for a guy, why would you choose for the girl? So let the girl be able to discover herself and say, "This is what I want to do." I always say it is if you limit yourself as an individual, that becomes an individual. That becomes a personality issue. But if you limit, if the society limits you, I mean, you're left with no other choice than whatever it is that when growing up as a girl, my father would tell me, you have to go to school because you don't have too many options as a woman. And at the time, the common skill that you see women acquire is either you're a tailor or you're a hairdresser. Now, that's not to say those are not good skills, but he said to me, those are the basic that is available to you if you do not have education. Education gives you a whole room, a whole lot of opportunity where you begin to explore and tell yourself, this is where I want to go. So I believe that our society should take it slow on women, on girls especially, let them have the opportunity to explore and make the choice. Yes, we can have guidance here and there. That's why there's guidance and counseling in every school. We can have guidance and counseling there based on their abilities and all, but not to impose on them. I mean, we've seen women architects, we've seen women engineers. The tallest buildings were drawn, by women around the world in Dubai, even in Nigeria. Mrs. Adetiba, these women have done a lot of they've made a lot of improvements and unprecedented successes in their various careers. So who says a girl in a village in Ekiti would not do much more when we give them the ability to explore, when we give them the room, the opportunities that they need to fulfill their potentials. So in my opinion, I believe that we should give these girls the room to make some decisions for themselves.
That's right to education. You've hammered on very well there. So we would like the listener to know we can get the conversation going now at this point if you call in to help us identify some of those challenges you've seen that has kept women or the girl child backward from getting the kind of opportunities she would need to for self-actualization. So let's hear what your thoughts are on 014489981. But then comes an argument that society would also make, but because we are deconstructing all of this, so that's why I put it across to you. When a girl child is too educated or allowed to, it takes more of the time she would use to fulfill those roles assigned by nature in terms of, well, getting the family started, and that's for procreation and other issues. So that's what one of the fears will be. And then a woman or a girl child who's given this room for, to choose and pick will know that would become not easy to lead in a way.
Okay, so why there's a lot of questions to be asked. And the first is, so I'm not oblivious of that a lot of people feel that. In fact, my grandmother told me sometimes ago, he said, "Oti kaweju."
Okay, so
like you read a lot that your choices, you are too picky. Your standards is too high.
Yeah.
Bring it down. And this is what Western education has done to you. That's their generation. That's how they grew. That's how they understood that women should be raised, right? But we are doing better now because we would realize that for any society to actually fulfill its potential, we cannot neglect women. We cannot neglect the female folks. They're bringing a lot to the table. In fact, studies have shown that women make better leaders. So why do if that is it, if we have had research that have come up to say women make better leaders, why then do we want to segregate them? Why then do we want to neglect them and not bring them to the forefront of leadership? Nigeria right now is suffering from governance situation, leadership situation.
I think I would rather want to save that leadership role for later, but since you raised it, but let's just go ahead and clear that field off, and then we'll continue from the next question. So go ahead with the leadership you raised now.
Okay, 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 but I mean, back to your question
Yes.
that a woman might, if it's too educated,
Yes.
might not fulfill domestic roles and all of that. Who says the domestic roles are actually for the women? Where is that nature coming from? Where is that mindset actually coming from? At the end of the day, are they not? Um, I will use an Okonjo Iweala for instance. Would you say Okonjo Iweala should go home and start sweeping his home or her home, when there are better situation to be sitting on and deliberating on and making decisions on, so these roles, nobody says it is gender role. We have to stop it at this point
But
to say
then
it is
some roles, some would argue would be gender roles,
like.
i.e., it comes 9 months, and of course, every month it's gender related to go through the process over
So
and over again.
would
Yeah.
that be a detriment to a woman's potential, that I go through the menstruation cycle on a monthly basis? Who says I would not run an organization because of that? Am I doing that for 30 days in the month? Am I doing that? I mean, is that happening in my brain? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So all of these things it is natural. It is God that made that happen. There's nothing anybody can do about it. But if the girl is not saying it is a detriment for me to get this job done, why are you thinking on my behalf? Why are you telling me that it's going to be? I mean, I've had situations where women are not employed to a certain role because they're going to raise families. And the question we ask ourselves, who says the woman, even in her pregnancy, would not even do better than the man in that particular role? I mean, pregnancy is not happening in your brain, you know. So those are my argument against that. That let the woman, let it not be a gender situation. Let it be a personality problem. Let me be able to tell myself, okay, I can't do this because I'm pregnant. I can't do this because I'm going through my menstrual cycle. But don't think for me. Don't assume that it's going to be a problem and then deny me some certain rights. That's the conversation.
On this note, still a cultural issue which affects the girl. Okay, we've got a call in already, so we've got them in already. Hello, good morning. Uh, your name and location. You're welcome. And Chika, you've been following the conversation, so let's have you weigh in on the conversation this morning. And Oluyemi Orija is here.
Good morning, sir.
Chika. Okay. Thank you very much, Chika, for your time this morning. We appreciate you. So there you go. You can take those ones, then we'll get back to the conversation.
Okay, so I think I'll talk about the legislation first. So yeah, Nigeria is a very is a country full of legislations. We have the Child Rights Act, which encompasses the rights of women and girls. We also have the Constitution itself, the Chapter 4, which also talks about the human rights, inclusive of girls, that no one should be discriminated because of gender. The Child Rights Act specifically says that children are, has the right to education. So we have rights, we have laws in place.
Guarantee.
But unfortunately, the enforcement of this law is where the challenge is. How is it being enforced? What step has been made? Some states in Nigeria have not even domiciliate that particular act. So those are the challenges to enforcing the right. So we have laws in place, but unfortunately, more have to be done when it comes to implementing or enforcing those laws.
Yes.
Then what steps are being taken?
Taken.
Um, for one, I know that we have civil rights organizations in Nigeria who are now even, taking it upon themselves to do education for girls in the rural areas. You would see organization around STEM now thinking about how girls can be included in STEM education and programming, coding, and all of that. Basically, in the rural area. Now, I would not agree that women are not being challenged or being restricted in any form. We can only talk about where we know. I mean, there are places in Nigeria that some of us have never been to, and we really do not even know what is going on there. I am from Ekiti State. I can say for sure that Ekiti State, as much as we love education, there are still a lot of girls who are also out of school, and the government can do more by ensuring that we have affordable education, not even just education, but quality education,
We will
affordable
do
quality
more
education.
when we come back from this green light for traffic to go by. But then you're listening to Smooth 98.1 FM. It is Lagos Talks 981. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. My guest is still speaking on the International Day for the Girl Child, Oluyemi Orija. We'll be right back shortly.
Future Forward Banking.
I'm not sure I captured all of these questions too. But the ones I said, I'm not sure I captured all the questions, but the ones I remember, I still want to responding to.
So when you dwell on that one, yeah, the other one you're saying areas where you know of, nobody's. When you finish with that, then we can now move to the issue of the. There's a question I want to go to, which is relating to the psychological makeup of the girl child and how society affects that. Clear that off, then we'll move on to other issues. So that's what's going.
If you do not already have a Providus bank account, please speak with our business concierge on 0700 77 684 387 or email businessconcierge@providusbank.com to switch to a future forward banking experience. Providus Bank. Future forward banking.
Hello, this is Jessica Bongos, and you're listening to the Smooth
We're back.
Breakfast Show.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM, 28 minutes before it is top of the hour, 10 o'clock. You're just in time because it is Lagos Talks 981, still focusing on the girl child as they celebrate International Day, especially dedicated to them. I guess we're speaking of those areas where, in the country where we've not been to, where there are still, things, hurdles stopping the girls from their full potential.
Yeah. So I would also want to say specifically, I've had experiences in Benue State of Nigeria where a lot of girls are majorly into this house help thing. They take them from that state to other state of the country to do house help, and they take that money back home for the boy child to go to school. So we cannot categorically say we don't have hindrances to girls' potential in Nigeria. It is there. it is there. It might not be very close to you, but definitely it is there. And the issue of the University of Calabar and the woman saying that the girls should be careful of their future. I mean, those this goes back to how important for us to continue to sensitize people and let them know that what future are we talking about when you're already, already even obstructing them, and you then say keep short.
I think also equally important, linked to that question Chika raised when he
Yeah.
called, is the fact that, look, most of these times holding the girl child back is not really the men, it's
Hmm.
even the women
Yes.
enforcing these laws and some
Hmm.
of this tradition and culture.
Absolutely, I agree, and that goes back to the mindset. I talked about my grandma telling me, you read too much, you might limit you, and all of those things. So we need to consistently sensitize people, and when I say people, it is both men and women. We cannot fight this fight without the inclusion of men, without bringing men on board, because men will continually have interactions with women. Men will continually sit on tables where decisions are made that would affect women one way or the other. So it is important for men to also be aware of what we're talking about, and for older women to also, understand this right, understand the essence of it, the reason why girls need to be empowered, reason why girls' rights need to be invested in, and importantly, for girls to express themselves. Why do I need to be violated? Then you tell me to shut up because of what the society is going to say. That is huge. That is huge, and that can be a lot of can have a lot of effect negatively on the mindset of the girl as she grows. You know.
Now, that takes me to the next question for you, and which is related to reproductive health of the girl child as we celebrate it, and how much importance society pays to that. Link this up for me with the fact we listed female genital mutilation a
Mutilation.
while ago.
Yeah.
I'd like you to speak some of these harmful cultural practices that hampers truly the reproductive right of the girl child.
So reproduction is something we need to be free to discuss with the girls. I also understand that as the girls go, I mean, for me, when I was growing up, and the very first time I was going to see my menstrual cycle, I had the conversation with my father first, you know. And for some family, depending on the family you grow up, some people have difficulty having this conversation. So I believe that it's because it is natural. The woman will not cut off her breast. The girl, as she grows breast, will not, she needs to be comfortable in that skin, that this is the stage that I am in now. And she's going to get that comfort and confidence when an elderly person, whether a man or a woman, have that conversation with her and let her know that this is normal, this is a process, this is the procedure, this is the stage that you're in. By the time they realize this, then the issue of self-esteem, it would be built. The girl will have confidence. Some girls, because of menstruation, can't go to school because they get stained. They don't even know there is something called sanitary pad. Some people, and again, why education to girl is very important is that it is what you give to me that I'm going to give to my child. I cannot give what I don't have. All right. So the education I have, or the exposure that I have, or the information that I have is what I'm going to raise my child with. A woman that has grown, that has not seen sanitary pad all her life, would not introduce it to a child. All right. So this is a lot of it has a lot of implication, and that's why we're saying this conversation is important. So female genital mutilation, I mean, some people, sometimes 2021, I was somewhere at Abeokuta, a village in Ogun State, and we had to go sensitize the community on female genital mutilation. And a doctor was with us to tell us the health effect of this, and the eventual, so when we were asking question, why do you practice this, and they said the woman will grow up to be what's that word now,
Yeah.
promiscuous. I mean, what is promiscuity? So she does not have the right to have urge for sex. She does not have the right to enjoy sexual intercourse. These are the things that we need to be talking about. And unfortunately, as we speak, some even enlightened states in Nigeria are still practicing this. And these have a lot of effect on the girl child, on the girl reproductive life, on the girls' even mindset. Imagine being forced down at age 10 and somebody is working on your genitals with in fact objects that are not even, oh my, sterilized, that could cause some diseases eventually, you know. So it's just interwoven. It's a lot, and we really have to be talking about these things.
Well, definitely, you've spoken a great deal about that already. So I would like us to drift into the area where you mentioned leadership. So yes, we might as well just go back to leadership once again to speak on leadership as being seen society, meaning in most cultures, it would seem like leadership roles, or maybe because some societies are patriarchal mostly, but I know societies also in Africa where it seemed like women have dominant voice.
Yeah.
Somewhere around the West African coast, we know of that. So, but bring it back home to leadership. How can we get more women to leadership tables where decisions are being made? And of course, you had said it seemed more like some women are better leaders than men, but the verdict is still out there.
Okay, I hope you accept that later. Anyways, it goes back to education. Like I said, you can't give what you don't have. You can't lead when you're not trained to lead. I don't believe that leaders are born. I believe they are trained and made. So if we're not training them to be the leader, they would definitely not be the leader. And like I said, if you would sell tomatoes in life, if you are educated, you sell it better. All right. So somebody who didn't go to school can sell tomato. Somebody that went to school can sell the same tomato, but there will be difference. And that what education does to you. So giving our girls education is not agreeable. We shouldn't be arguing it. We can't debate it. It should be sacrosanct. It should be a norm. If anybody isn't doing it, there should be consequence. All right. So when they have that basic education or skill, it is on that bedrock that they can grow up to be leaders in whatever field that they find themselves. So leadership cannot be taken away, but for us to get there must be investment. And the investment is us investing in their education or their skill acquisition. So it is either, finances cannot be taken away, because I think we've not talked about financial life of a woman, of a woman or of a girl. So it is important that for them to be financially independent in the future, you must have something doing, and having something doing will be as a function of either education or skill. Then it takes me back to the question that was asked the other time, where you said what is being done. And I'm going to say, we talk year in, year out, we discuss these issues on daily basis in our various organizations, but the truth is, how much investment financially are we putting into this? Because you not just talk and not do anything. And for you to do anything, money needs to go to it. How much is the money that Nigeria as a country is committed to implementing those laws that positively encourages girls?
And because you raised how much society is committing, especially in Nigeria, there's an ongoing conversation about female reproductive health, and in terms of what girls go through every month, in terms of, and you mentioned sanitary pad. And the question in some societies now, it's that, especially in Europe, you girls can get those pads for free. And of course, I heard in some African countries, and we've been seeing some crude methods, what they use, where they can't even access pads. I'd like you to tie that in also in that conversation.
So if we have the Ministry of Women Affairs, which is supposed to be under that ministry, issues of girls should be a concern. And the question is, if we are putting money in, if we are not just talking, and we have the Child Rights Act that says you have right to good health, right to education, right to all of this, protection from harms and all of that. The law is there. Okay, how much is in the budget of 2024 or 2023? How much was set aside for the implementation of all of these actions? So if we are not yet committing money to it, then we are not serious. And if a country can say girls between ages 12 and 18 should access pad for free. Why is Nigeria different? Is it that the girls, the quality, the life of girls in Nigeria are not worthy enough of such benevolence? I mean, I don't even see it as a benevolence anyways. It should be not, because imagine a girl using clothes or tissue for for menstrual flow, and at the end of the day she gets stains and she's in school, then the people are making fun of her. You think she want to go to school tomorrow? So these are the things that, these are the hindrances we're talking about.
Yes.
And I think that it's important for our government at all levels, local, state, and the federal, has to be committing money into the implementation of the laws in place.
Look like a fine place here to get the listener back once again on track on 014489981 will be where we get your calls this morning. So let's get calls in on 014489981. And then we'd also love to read messages if they come in on 080944400981. Because your last report was laws implementation, it would seem from the conversation we've had so far, from the constitution, there is not even a place where we find saying, and therefore the female child or the woman would be kept aside from opportunities. No, it's not there. So then it now takes us to the point of the implementation in itself. So which also would connect to the current talk that Nigeria is still battling with, the issue of affirmative action and how we can get more women to the political positions and boards where they can take decision. So I'd like you to speak to that aspect.
Okay, I said this, the current government is doing well in terms of, we're getting close to the 35% thing, but
when we know in some societies it's 50-50 already.
Yeah,
I.e.
That's why I said we're getting there. This current government at least is moving forward a little bit from where we're coming from. So political sin, this is a sin that women are not expected to even be actively participating in. And I would not also shy from the fact that some women believe that the political scene is not theirs, because it is believed that the political scene is shady. Meetings are held in the middle of the night. There are some things that the women are not physically capable of doing. But I say to myself, if we can have 35% and we can have people already doing it, then it means more people can be involved. But how do we get there? My expectation would be that the current senators we have.
I understand you've got expectations, but I'm afraid to the listener right now, we need to quickly do this final break for the traffic to go by. But when we come back, you would expand that point, and then we can come to the conclusion of the show this morning. Stay tuned. You're on to Smooth 98.1 FM.
My name is Actor, and you're listening to Smooth 98.1. Keep listening.
Come on, buy your bread. Eat orange. Buy banana.
The title of Slum King is reserved only for the chosen. For no one else carries an aura.
So this is our final stop. When we come back now, we'll be, so you can still speed on that point in just to shut down. Well done.
And showing Sundays at 8 p.m. on Africa Magic Showcase on DSTV and GoTV.
One expert, they offer mind-blowing hyper bonus. So place an accumulator bet and they watch your winnings. They go up with our 1000% bonus. Now so 1000%. So what they wait for? Visit oneexpert.ng today with promo code HYPERNIGERIA to get 300%.
You got another engagement after now? Okay, sorry.
Sure.
We're beating into your time.
Whose world is it? This is a woman's world. Let's talk about the woman.
Women make up more than half of the world's population and potential.
Let's talk about gender bias, relationships, and careers. Let's talk about the woman.
For the record, feminism, by definition, is the belief that men and women should have equal rights.
Every a hero against all odds.
When I was just 11 years old, I became a female advocate.
Smooth 98.1 presents Soul Sisters, a discourse on the woman. Now on Smooth 98.1 every Wednesday from 11 a.m.
We're smooth 98.1 FM. 12 minutes before it's 10 o'clock. It's still Lagos Talks 981. My guest still here. We're speaking on the International Day of the Girl Child with a theme this year very instructive. Saying cultivating girls' rights, investing in opportunity, fostering leadership and empowerment. And so far, the conversation has been along that line with my guest, Oluyemi Orija. So you were speaking on a point about political scene being shady and other things, and so you could just
Okay, so I was saying that for our girls to really participate in politics and for women to participate in politics, I expect that the current people or women who are occupying some form of position politically, senators, House of Representative members, House of Assembly members, deputy governors who are women, need to be mentoring our girls in that line. I mean, somebody was telling me yesterday that when you start to work, where the first job you take is most likely going to determine how your career will go. All right. So if we have women in politics mentoring the young girls to start considering politics as they grow up, then there is possibility of us having higher participation of women in politics. But this will not happen without mentorship. So I think that mentorship is something that is not taken seriously enough, and is like in Africa or in Nigeria, we really do not understand the concept of mentorship. So until we bring that into place when it comes to politics and the political scene, a lot of women might draw back by the way that politics is painted in Nigeria, the way it is made. In fact, some men are running from politics because it is believed that like my life is at stake. It's something that I don't want to venture into, or I should not venture into if I love my life. So until we break these things into pieces and say it is important for everyone to get involved in politics, because it is in the political arena that our life decisions are being, made, laws are made that determines our life, and we need to be part of that process. It is important for us to get involved in political party activities and the political stuff going on there. So when we get involved, we are there when those decisions are made. We can make contribution. The laws these days, because of the awareness amongst the youth, you now realize that when we are passing a bill into law, people can begin to criticize the recent law of loan for higher institution. I mean, you saw how people came out to talk about it, and that is the kind of involvement that we need when decisions about women are also being talked about.
Now, I'd like you to speak to, as we get ready to wrap things up in this conversation, talk about this issue of gender abuse. How can we protect the girl child, against this form of harm?
Sexual abuse.
Yes, abuse and all that. We can't run away that it does not exist.
Absolutely.
So I'd like you to speak to it.
So from every girl emanates from a home, right? And from a school, if they are in school, for the ones who are in school. And most of the time, sexual violence happens within, right? So first thing is being friends with these girls. They should not be neglected. And these form their mental and psychological.
When you said from within, someone may not get it. So please, when you say from within, what does that mean?
When you look at sexual violence, 9 out of 10 would happen in the neighborhood. It's either the neighbor, the brother, the father, sometimes the uncles, those are the people who perpetrate these things. So that's why I said it's from the within. Now, it does not negate the fact that some happens outside, but I mean, so if I have a girl child and I'm able to, without restriction, have this conversation with her, that if this happen, this is what should happen. if this happened, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. This is how you should talk to me. When there is a relationship between guardian or parent and the girls, then we are making progress, because it means that regardless of how she's been threatened, she has solace. She believes that when I talk to my mom or I talk to my dad, then they'll be able to take action. So we have to do that. We cannot afford to in some homes some girls can't speak. They are not that free. In fact, some of them are made to understand that just do the chores, just do the chores, just do this, just do that, and they cannot express. So if they're able to express themselves, freedom of expression is very key. When they're able to express themselves, they'll be able to talk to the right people who can help. But sexual violence, like every other crime, majorly, you cannot, like, there's little or nothing that you can do except that laws are in place, consequences are meted on the perpetrators, which we are doing. But of course, the justice system still has a long way to go in that regard. But I believe that we have to do a lot when it comes to justice and ensuring that the girls get justice. Do not let them think, what would the people say if you say that somebody has touched my breast? If I'm coming to you and saying that somebody has raped me, then I shouldn't be saying that, because the community will look at me as being promiscuous or something like that. We have to erase all of those mindsets from our girls. Let them have the freedom to express themselves.
Well, it's on this note, we a whole lot to still unpack regarding this conversation of the girl child. But so far, you would agree that the guest today she's done justice, and speaking about these issues, and there's still more from where all of this have emanated. But then today, we must remember, is the International Day of the Girl Child, with the theme Invest in Girls' Rights, Leadership, Well-Being. My guest, she has an active experience in criminal and civil litigation, and she's Oluyemi Orija, founder and executive director of Headford Foundation, a non-profit organization bridging the justice gap in Nigeria through legal aid, advocacy, and innovative technology solutions. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
And this is where we say it's a wrap on the breakfast show this morning. Really did enjoy your company. So would ask you to let's do it again starting 6 a.m. tomorrow. I'll be here bright and early. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa, urging you to stay with Smooth all day, every day. I've got Shegun will be here for the next time out, Strictly Soul, and then Sisters will be talking also, and then the duo of Ayo and Joy, call them AJ, they would be okay with it, and they'll be here for the drive time to take you home. It's a good day to you.
Thank you.
Welcome.